I thought I knew Azeroth. I've walked these roads for years, raided, quested, fought in every expansion. But recently, something in my gut told me to stop. Right at that moment, I stood still and found something I never noticed before. A gravestone. It was Mats Ibelin Sten's memorial. And suddenly, this world I thought I knew started to whisper back. I started searching for quiet places, the places Blizzard never asked you to visit. But those places still tell the most heartbreaking stories in the game. Join me as I will do my best to bring you these gems of lore. This is the one everyone thinks they know, Uther the Lightbringer, first of the Silver Hand, teacher of paladins, a hero whose very name was tied to the light itself. But here's the truth. This tomb is not his body's resting place. When Arthas struck Uther down during the war for Lord Aeron, he desecrated the corpse and stole the urn that carried the ashes of King Tirion. What became of Uther's remains is unclear to me, and so this place in the Western Plaguelands is less a grave and more a monument, a promise that his sacrifice would not be forgotten. The inscription carved into the stone says it clearly. He was the light and the goodness of humanity, and when he died, the light died with him. If you stand there long enough, you'll notice the quiet, just silence, broken only by the wind over Sorrow Hill. It feels less like a tomb, and more like a question left unanswered. In the royal quarter of Undercity, there is something easy to miss. A small urn sits beside the broken banners of Lord Aeron. No marker, no quest, just silence. But if you stop and click it, the silence breaks. A whisper drifts through the air, even in death, my son. It is the voice of King Tirion Menethil II, Arthas' father, the same man who was struck down here in the capital of Lord Yaron when his own son drove Frostmourne through his chest. The game never explains the urn. It offers no quest, no dialogue, no reward. Only that one line, repeating softly if you listen. This isn't really a gravestone. It is something heavier, a memory locked in the ruins of a kingdom, a father's voice echoing through the halls, his son destroyed. Blizzard didn't leave us a monument here. They left a ghost, and once you hear it, the throne room never feels the same again. Tyrion's grave is one of the most complicated. He was a hero, wielder of the Ashbringer. He led the charge at the Frozen Throne. He united the Argent Crusade. He was the man who stood against Arthas when few dared to, and then he died in a trap, powerless. After his death, his body was laid to rest at Light's Hope Chapel. His gravestone is simple, marked with a single line, Tirion Fordring, Champion of the Light. There are no statues, no grand monuments, only silence around the chapel's grounds. Just a modest stone for one of the greatest paladins in history. Some players still question his end. Was it meant to show how fragile even the strongest champions can be? Was it Blizzard's way of passing the torch to a new generation of heroes? I don't know. Whatever the reason, the grave still stands. And every time you walk past it, you're reminded that even legends can fall. Have you ever stopped at a gravestone in World of Warcraft and just stared at it? Let me know in the comments if you found one that intrigued you. And if you like stories like these, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and keep walking with me. I truly appreciate it. You can find Morgan Lattimore's grave just outside the crumbling chapel at Raven Hill. At first glance, it's just another weathered tombstone. But click on it, and something happens. A ghost appears, sword drawn, armor rusted. He says nothing, just stares. Lattimore was once a noble knight of Stormwind, but during the First War, he lost everything. His wife, his daughter, his sanity. He became the mor'ladim, a restless spirit who wandered the cemetery, hunting the living, not out of evil, but out of grief. When you complete the quest line tied to his story, you lay his soul to rest. And then, the grave changes. His spirit no longer appears, only the stone remains, and the silence he left behind. You meet her as a ghost, a little girl alone in the ruins of Darrowshire, asking you to find her doll. Her voice is gentle, her requests are simple. And then, slowly, the horror sets in. Pamela Redpath died during the Battle of Darrowshire. Her soul never passed on, and neither did the others. After you reunite her with her father and defeat the undead commander behind it all, she finally finds peace. Of all the stories in the Azeroth, this one might hurts the most, because you knew her, you helped her, and in the end, you had to say goodbye, forever. Thoros Trollbane ruled Stromgarde with strength and pride. He fought in the Second World War, stood beside Tirion, and kept the Arathai bloodline alive in a time when kingdoms were falling apart. But when the Scourge came and Lordaeron crumbled, Stromgarde was left in ruins. Thoros died, his body buried in secret, only to be raised by Sylvanas years later during the Fourth War. Players can now find his grave restored at Stromgarde Keep. After the war, both the Horde and Alliance returned his body to its homeland, an act of rare unity. His grave glows faintly, guarded by banners from both sides. It's not just a grave. It's a reminder that even in death, some legacies demand respect. If you've ever quested through the Eastern Plaguelands, you've likely crossed Marris Stead. Once, it was a farmstead belonging to Nathanos Marris, the first and only human ever trained as a ranger lord of Quell Thalas. Sylvanas herself had chosen him, a rare honor that stirred resentment among the High Elves. But death changed everything. When the plague swept across Lordaeron, Nathanos fell, and later rose again as Nathanos Blightcaller, champion of the Banshee Queen. From that day forward, his life and death were bound to Sylvanas Windrunner. During the Shadowlands pre-patch, players stormed his ruined farmstead and ended his unlife once and for all. There was no resurrection, no escape, just silence. Not long after, something new appeared at Marris Stead. A grave. There's no quest, no dialogue. Only a headstone that reads, Champion of the Banshee Queen, and a single red rose placed before it. For a man defined by war, pride, and loyalty, the quiet of that grave speaks louder than any final speech could. Crusader Bridenbrad's camp is easy to ride past, just a lonely tent in the frozen wastes of northern Icecrown. But once you stop there, you'll never forget him. Inside lies a dying paladin, his body failing after being infected with the Lich King's plague. The Argent Crusade asks for your help, and you do everything in your power, calling on heroes across Azeroth and even the Naaru themselves. The final quest brings Adal to Icecrown, where the Naaru declares his soul is pure. In a haunting cutscene, Bridenbrad is lifted into the light. He is not raised a scourge, nor left to rot on the battlefield. Instead, he's taken to a place beyond death, his spirit freed from the grasp of the plague. There is no raid, no loot, no glory at the end. Just silence and remembrance. And that's because Bridenbrad isn't just a character. He's a tribute to Bradford Breidenbecker, the brother of Blizzard executive Robert Breidenbecker, who passed away from cancer. Blizzard wove his memory into the fabric of World of Warcraft, making Bridenbrad's story one of the most personal and heartfelt moments in the entire game. Players often call this questline one of Wrath of the Lich King's most powerful experiences. It's not about victory, but about loss, hope, and the light's promise. Bridenbrad stands as proof that Azeroth's world is not only built on fantasy, but also on the real people who shaped it. Alonsis Fail isn't a name you hear often these days, but every paladin and every member of the Argent Dawn owes something to him. He founded the Knights of the Silver Hand, and he mentored Uther. He laid the foundation for everything the light stands for in Lord Aeron. After his death, the Scarlet Crusade refused to bury him. But the Argent Dawn remembered. Inside Light's Hope Chapel, there's a small plaque near the altar. It reads, "In memory of Archbishop Alonsis Fail, founder of the Silver Hand." Not a statue, not a tomb, just a plaque on the floor, stepped over every day, but still glowing with holy light. Sometimes the smallest memorials carry the heaviest weight. Did you know about these places? Have you ever stopped by one? Not for a quest, but just to look? Did you miss one I should have covered? I'd appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to my channel, because in Azeroth, the loudest things aren't always the bosses or the toxic player. Often, it's the graves or hidden stories.